Hello and welcome to a brand new show I'm hosting here on my channel. And in this series, what we're going to be doing is sitting down and having one-on-one conversations with influencers of any kind in the gaming community. Now, they could be content creators, YouTubers, streamers, game developers, project managers, etc. If they have any influence or impact in the gaming community, then there's a chance you might see them show up here on the show. The show's called 1v1 Me because I'm sitting down one-on-one and grilling these people. And a lot of podcasts are out right now, and what they do is they have guests come on and they talk about the game. That's not what this is. This is going to be focusing on the guests themselves and give you a little bit more insight into maybe some of their personal lives and about their journey, their growth, what motivated them, how they first came into content creation or whatever it may be, their origin stories, and just give you a little bit of a window into what their life is like. And hopefully you'll get to know some of these people that maybe you've supported for years on a more personal level. The very first episode today, you're going to be watching a conversation that I had with Mtashed. Hopefully you enjoy it, and I hope that you will continue to stick around the show. We've got several other guests lined up, and I'm really excited for you to get to know them. All right, so Mike, thanks for being here. Appreciate you being on for our debut episode of 1v1 Me. I'm excited to grill you a little bit today. Thanks for coming on.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me. I'm excited for the pilot episode.
All right.
And when I saw you posted this, I was like, oh shit, this is really cool. Like, this is a cool, departure from the normal, just like straight up gaming content. So yeah. I cannot wait to see all the guests and all the interviews.
Absolutely.
And stuff.
Yeah, I'm really excited because, a lot of times with stuff in our community, specifically the Destiny community that we're plugged into, a lot of times it's people who are talking about the game and pulling in guests to have a conversation about the game. But this series, right, I want to really focus on the guests themselves and let the people in our community sort of get to know them on maybe a more personal level.
You guys want all the dirty details.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
This is it.
So, hey, you recently, and by recently, I mean just a couple of weeks ago, got married.
Yep. Yeah, July 13th. I got the little ring on the finger now.
Congratulations. Was that like tungsten or what is that?
It's cobalt. Okay. I didn't want the tungsten because you can't cut it off apparently. And I figure if anyone's going to break their finger and need to get it cut off, it's going to be me.
Well, congratulations. And your wife's name is?
Kathleen Tash now.
How about that? So yeah. Where'd you guys go for your honeymoon?
So we went for just a couple days to Banff in the mountains. Mm-hmm. Really popular place here in Canada. Like, it's like 3.5, 4 hours away from me. And so we just went for a couple days hiking because she had some family kind of from Windsor and Toronto area that flew in for the wedding, and they've never seen the mountains like that. So they went, we just spent a couple days there with some friends, and then we're going on our full, we're getting away honeymoon in August. So August 17th, we're going to Hawaii.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Very good. And so how did you and Kat meet? I feel like this is too good of a story to pass up.
So we met on Tinder. But I wasn't actually using Tinder to find a date. I was actually liking guys and girls, and every person that matched me, I copy and pasted, "Hey, my name's Mike or Mtash. I make comedy videos on YouTube, and if you like it, you should watch it, subscribe, and share it with your friends." And I had a couple of videos at the time.
Shameless self-promoting here on Tinder.
Oh God, it's just the worst. And so she ended up watching it, and she's like, "Hey, you're actually pretty funny, and you're really cute." And so I asked her, where are you from? And we started chatting and ended up going on a date. And to this day, she says that I wheeled her. No. When you started the conversation saying that I'm cute, listen, you're the one that started it. So she tried to lock down me, and the rest is history. We went on a couple dates, and yeah.
So it was an act of shameless self-promotion, which led
got me the lady,
a marriage, which is fantastic. Yeah. Which I mean,
the only girl I ever went on a date with from Tinder, and we ended up getting married.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
It blows me because I've met your wife, and she's wonderful. She's a wonderful lady, and she's beautiful. And so we always just wonder, how is it that worked? On a girl in her league, that worked. That blows me away.
Yeah, that's the funniest thing, because when she matched me, it's funny because she told me, we started talking and we were going to go on this date, and I was convinced it was a catfish.
Right.
I was convinced. I was like, there's no way this girl is real. She comes from this little tiny town she was living in, population like 4,000 maybe. And I was like, no way. There's just no chance. She was real. She just loved the Tash man.
So you said these were comedy videos. So what was your what like first inspired your initial content? What was your goal with your content back then?
It was actually 0% gaming related at first. I wanted to do skits and comedy videos. So like back in the day, like I used to watch a guy named Jimmy Tatro, or Life According to Jimmy is his channel. And then actually, if you've ever heard of Kyle Mooney, he's actually on SNL now and he's been in a couple movies. I watched a lot of their skits back in the day, and I was like, oh my God, I could do that. I want to do that. That looks super fun. And my goal was literally just make comedy videos and skits. And I do a lot of voice impressions too. So that was kind of one of the things, because I saw, some videos on YouTube had like 5 million views for doing these voice impressions. And I was like, well, I can do those. And, not to toot my own horn, but I watched some of them and I was like, I guarantee I can do almost all those voices better than those guys. And they got 5 million views. Like, why couldn't I? Little did I know, YouTube's hard. And getting the views out there, like it was pretty tricky. And little did I know that filming skits is a nightmare. You need cameras, lighting, proper microphones. You need locations to shoot. So you can either film in your house, but I wanted to do like cool, like good skits. And like, I wanted to be like in a bar. Like if it was a bar skit, I wanted to be in a bar, not pretending in my house. Right. It's impossible. No one lets you film in their place. They're not going to let you go in there, at least not during any sort of open hours that they'd be open.
Right.
And any time that they would let you in there, it's a terrible environment to film. And so I got, 3, 4, 5, 6 videos out, and I started realizing there's no way this is A, sustainable, or B, the quality that I want it to be. Like I couldn't make a smosh quality video. And so it just kind of crashed and burned. Well, not crash and burn. Like I got some subscribers and some success. I just saw the inevitable, because I didn't have the funds. Right. Exactly. A very early plateau. I knew that I couldn't continue and I did not have the money. Like, I mean, I've been a dad since grade 12. So every dollar I spent was going towards, my son and then going to university, because I had just started university when I started my channel. And it was just impossible. I couldn't afford the equipment to make videos, especially when I was making like no money doing it. So yeah, it was all comedy at first, and then transition.
So that desire to entertain, to make people laugh, eventually as you made your transition into making gaming content, did any of that carry over, and how has that sort of affected your content even that you post today?
I would say that I try to bring a lot of personality into the videos. Like even if I'm making a guide, there's usually a rant somewhere in there where I'm being pretty goofy, or a little voice or something. And I've done a lot of kind of characters. Like I did my kind of Scottish characters with the super serious reviews. Right. I've got this, it's a new meta baby kind of voice for my, when I show off like terrible guns and pretend they're good. And so I try to add little bits of kind of my character into the videos, just so, well, I don't want them to be boring for one. Like that's the main thing.
It also sort of differentiates you from the pack a little bit too, because I mean, I still see not just on my videos, but on other videos that I watch as well on other people's channels. I still see comments like that where like, it's the new meta, baby, and everybody knows when somebody makes that comment that they're referencing you and your character that you bring to your videos. Yeah. Right.
Yeah. No, it's actually pretty cool. And lately, actually, the past month or so, almost every video I've made has been like a live commentary of me just being goofy. And oddly enough, they've been doing better than some of my guides and stuff that I was doing before. Yeah. I mean, when there's new hot content, there are obviously going to be really good views on guides. But the fact that I can kind of just play and goof off and generate like 50 or even 60 or 70,000 views on a video is insane. Because normally a live commentary, if you look at a year ago, they'd get 15,000 views.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like I'm getting like 4 or 5 times the views on some of these videos that I used to. So it's really cool to see how people are kind of watching more for me and my kind of goofiness rather than just Destiny or Division or whatever it is. They're they're there for me.
And do you think that that's because you've gotten better at doing that kind of content that you're getting more viewership now? Or do you think it's more that your community started to really understand you and really start to enjoy the personality that you bring and stop looking at your content as being strictly informative and more entertaining?
Mm-hmm. I'd say it's a very big mixture of both because I did so many guides and like Crucible School. Like there's like 40 episodes of Crucible School and they're all like how to get better at PvP. And they're really focused. There's no jokes in them. It's all like guides.
Yeah.
And then, you know, back in the day, I'd try to do like a live commentary. And I remember every time comments are like, you're not Mr. Fruit. Stop trying to be Mr. Fruit. Like,
right.
And a lot of people were like, your live commentary isn't funny. And so I know that I wasn't the best at them. And so progress and being better at them has been good. You know, I guess no dead air and stuff during the videos. Like if you go watch one of my first live comms to now, completely different vibe. So I think there's progress in me making the content, but also my audience has just realized over the years that I am pretty goofy and they want to see that goofiness. And this is honestly, I would say the last few months is the first time where I felt like, holy cow, I think people would prefer I'm just goofy on camera than make a guide. You know, I think the audience is craving more of that, and I can put one out every single day and no one's complaining, which is awesome. Really good.
So as your content has grown and developed, would you say that there's any people that you could point out as being some of your major supporters who have been a big part of your journey, played an important role in your growth? I
would say like Kathleen and my mom for just kind of moral support, and my brother. Honestly, my brother. They were people I could throw ideas at, and they motivated me, and I think believed in me before I believed in me. But then I had a lot of influences like directly with content that boosted me up. Planet Destiny literally was the biggest catalyst I think my channel could have had. When I started Crucible School, they saw the videos and they're like, hey, make some guides for us. We'll shout you out. And I went from 1,000 to 10,000 subs in like 3 days.
So paying an exposure worked to a certain degree. I know that a lot of people hate on that idea.
Right. But they gave me $20 a video or $40 a video.
Right.
So it was, you know, and that was more than the ad revenue I was getting because I was only getting 1,000 views on a video. Right. Maybe 2,000 views on a video. And then it really started things because I got to like 10,000 and then the views were like 7,000 or 8,000 on a video. And then over the course of that summer, I went to 30,000 almost. And that's actually when the Taken King Red Bull event happened that like Hovey and Dado and them played in. And so I played in that. But also around that time, I talked with Triple Rec because I kind of met him there. And I talked with Mr. Fruit and I convinced them to do the Dream Team off. So I said, hey, it would be so cool if you took Blue Eslo, Robbie V, and Mr. Fruit, their Dream Team, and then you played like Hovey, Triple Rec, and me, and it would be like the Dream Team versus the Dream Team. Yeah. And that was huge. I think I got another like 5,000 or 6,000 subscribers in like a couple days because of that. Because at that time, Fruit was exploding in popularity. Like, like absolutely juggernaut.
I mean, he'd get six figures of views just reading comments. It wouldn't be no gameplay. He'd be sitting there with a piece of paper reading comments from his YouTube channel, and people would watch because he can make anything funny. And people still reference that video that you're talking about, the Dream Team versus the Dream Team.
Like, especially he's a robot.
And the whole and Fruit's Smash when you're doing no supers, and Fruit's like, I couldn't resist. People still reference that to this day.
Yeah. And that was kind of the start of my friendship with him as well. Like, he was at my wedding last weekend and stuff. And so it's kind of cool because, you know, I was such a big fan of him, and then we collaborated, and then we started, you know, as I started to grow and go to some of the events, we started to meet. And same with Dado. You know, I met Dado at the Red Bull event, and we kind of saw each other at some Bungie events, and kind of those friendships blossomed. Yeah. But I think honestly, like even with you though, you and Hovey and the Jez, we all kind of came up together. Yeah. And we kind of shared off of each other's audiences. And we all brought something a little different to the table, and we collaborated and streamed together. And I think it was just kind of a really good time for all of us to kind of jump in, to work hard and grow together. And those outside influences were kind of the first bit of catalyst, I guess. So.
Yeah, and Destiny was it was the perfect landscape for new talent to rise up back then. So many people have now launched their careers. I mean, you have people in some of the biggest gaming organizations out there right now that launch their careers with Destiny.
Oh yeah, yeah. Like look at Crafty. Like Triple's in one, Giggs is in one, Sir Demetrius. Like there's tons of people.
Yeah.
And then if you look at people like Gathalion and Broman, and they've created this massive organization with Rare Drop and Guardian Con, and now the GCX or yeah, and they're some of the biggest streamers in the world now.
Yeah.
Alongside the stuff, they've got King's Coast Coffee in different retailers now. Like it's crazy to see some of the success stories that came out of Destiny, and it's still going. There's still people coming out, and there's still room to grow. And so it's one of those directories that I think people are pretty friendly and welcoming. I think that Destiny has enough content that whether you're a PvE or PvP, you can grow. And there's opportunities to make content. And if September is as good as I hope it's going to be, I think it's another great opportunity for, us to grow, but for new people to emerge. If you make good content, there's people out there that want to watch it.
Absolutely.
So, if you're thinking about making content, jump in.
So that might lead me into another question that I wanted to ask you. I mean, don't do like an exhaustive list because you could seriously write a book on this. But if someone was to say, I really do want to start this journey on content creation, what's just one piece of advice that you would give somebody who's just trying to get their feet off the ground here?
Okay. My quick advice to anyone that ever asks me is don't quit the day job. Don't quit your hobbies. Don't give it your all just yet. Make sure you like it first, because I see people quitting their jobs and struggling in school because they're so focused on making content.
Yeah.
And I really, really recommend people do it because they have like a passion, a burning passion to do it. And don't think for 1 second you'll make money. That's my biggest thing is you have to feel financially secure, because you won't make any money streaming or making videos.
Right.
And if you do one day, that's awesome. You still can't quit because you never know what's going to happen.
Kind of branching off what you're talking about here, but we know where you started. We know where you are now. But in that in-between time, was there ever a time specifically that you can think of, or maybe there's multiple times where you just wanted to throw the hat in, like you just want to be like, nah, I'm done? You want to throw the towel in and say, I quit?
A couple times, like near the start, there was a couple times, I didn't have some good reception with some friends. Actually, I made a video, like a comedy video, and they all like roasted me. And I almost threw it in right there because I got like, for the first time in my life, like bullied because I was making videos on YouTube.
Yeah.
And, I lost a lot of friends, unfortunately, that I don't consider them friends anymore, because why would you do that to someone?
Sure.
And that was almost the end, right at the start, before this amazing career took off. I almost
snuffed out right there. Yeah.
Right. And then, things were good, but with the demonetization that happened, the adpocalypse after the whole PewDiePie drama, that was really scary, because it was like 9 months pretty much of demonetization or reduced ads on my channel. And so my income went from where it was to down here. And all of a sudden it was like, oh my God, like I'm barely making rent.
Right.
Which is terrifying because, I was still in school at the time. So that was a time where I considered, maybe leaving. I ended up making a Patreon, and they literally saved my channel. I told them, I was like, I either have to go back to my job or I have to start a Patreon. Like,
I remember
those are the alternatives.
I remember.
And I wanted to make content so bad. And I was like, if I give this up, I know what it could be. And like looking back in hindsight, I was right. If I would have thrown all of this away, I would be in such a worse position in life.
Right.
I have a home. I have vehicles. I can provide for my family because of YouTube and Twitch. And I would have got snuffed out again because of the money. I had kind of jumped in full time.
Yeah. Because
it was making me enough money. I was making a sound financial decision and a growth decision. And then the whole adpocalypse happened, and I got screwed by it. Sure. Really.
A lot of people did.
And so that was a scary moment. And then after Destiny 2 was a very tough period. going into Curse of Osiris, I was actually applying at a couple different places. They're much higher end positions that I didn't know if I was going to get, but I ended up getting a call back for one of them, and it would have been a very good career, very solid career with one of the universities here. And I almost took it, and then I said, I don't know, I'm gonna gamble on something. And the gamble was actually Monster Hunter World, because it was a different game, very different than Destiny. You know, it's not a shooter anymore. It's a very different audience. And I said, if I can do it with Monster Hunter World, if I can succeed with Monster Hunter World, I'll never consider quitting again. Because if I can make it work for Monster Hunter World, I can make it work for any game. Division, Call of Duty. If I just play a new game, it means I make good enough content that I can compete in new markets, yada, yada, yada. Moral of the story is it worked. Thank God.
I remember that.
I guess that's not really a moral, but it ended up being like my third best month ever.
Yeah.
And I was mind blown. And then it's just been steady from there.
And for a while, you were also mixing in some live casting. I mean, you were casting various gaming events, not just in the Destiny community, but even doing events that, had Fortnite gameplay, etc. Where are you at right now with the casting? Is that something you still have a passion for?
I do. It's again, I turned down quite a few different things because, like, to go away for 4 days to like North Carolina for an event and they pay like maybe $1,000. Like, that does sound really, really good. But at the same time, I could just stay at home, make a bunch of videos, see my family, not have to travel and be in an airport. It's unless you're doing the big ticket stuff like the Fortnite World Cup, if you're doing the X Games for Apex Legends, stuff like that, it's not the most lucrative job, and you got to travel so much. And if I want to be at those big events, I got to cast everything, and I got to be that main guy that's at every single event and stuff, because there's amazing talent out there. There's Golden Boy, there's Jump, there's all these amazing people that can host and cast and do these different things that they're a shoo-in for this content. And I'm competing against them to get the jobs or to work alongside them. And so I don't think I have enough experience to be at a Fortnite World Cup. I'd like to think I'm pretty good at it, but I'm not kind of tried, tested, and true. The companies that are hiring people, they've seen me do like 5 different gigs in my entire career. They probably shouldn't be trusting me with the Fortnite World Cup.
Yeah. So I want to circle back real quick to something you had mentioned earlier. You talked about a time when you had thought about quitting and getting, quote unquote, bullied a little bit for being interested in uploading the stuff on YouTube. And have you ever had any run-ins with people from way earlier in your life, maybe your high school years or shortly thereafter, who struggled to see you as, I don't know if celebrity is the right word. Excuse me. I don't know if celebrity is the right word, but as a successful entrepreneur making YouTube videos.
It's oddly enough, most people are pretty interested in what I do now, and they think it's pretty cool. I haven't run into anyone that's been super negative about it and tried to rib me on it, because how do you deny that this isn't awesome? I make videos every day, spend time with my family, I travel. Like, I'm a very, very lucky dude. And if you look at, my Instagram or my Twitter posts or whatever, you can get the vibe that things are going pretty well. Yeah. And I think people can kind of pick up on that. I had a guy run into me at the gym, and he actually was one of the guys that was, a jerk to me, let's just say. And he was gushing over it. He was like, "Oh, it's so cool. It's amazing to see." Yeah. And it's almost like I showed them. There's no negativity, but they razzed me and they kind of jumped on me a little bit, but now they see the success, and they're not angry at me or rude towards me or anything like that. They just think it's cool now because it's kind of cool.
And it's not necessarily about being vain or arrogant, but it's certainly a good feeling when you're on the other side of it and you can look back and be like, look, I made it happen. I made this work. I'm living my dream right now.
No, exactly. Like, I don't want to be that guy, but at the same time, there's a couple people that I want to kind of rub it into, but I don't need to. They've seen it, and I've moved on. They've moved on. Is what it is. They had maybe they had too many drinks when they said some of the stuff, but sure. I'm just gonna live my life and kind of keep enjoying this wild ride of content and see where it takes me, kind of thing.
Mm-hmm. And as far as this wild ride is concerned, what do you think is the future for your brand, for Mtashed content? Like, where are you headed? Do you have any goals or direction?
I feel, and maybe knock on wood a little bit, I feel very secure right now in my content and in the content that's coming. Like with Shadowkeep, if it's not an amazing month, I would be really shocked. Even if the game wasn't updated and as good as we thought it would be, there's going to be so many more people playing the game because it's free that I think I'd have to make some colossal mistakes to fail. And then after that, because I've seen other games and I've seen the success, I feel like, well, even if Destiny did suck, I can cover other stuff and succeed and do well with it. And then, honestly, recently with some of the sponsors that have been coming with the growth of the channel, and like my average views monthly, it used to be like 1 million, and now it's like 3 million. And so I've noticed way more sponsors coming to the channel, which drastically changes my income. In some cases, the amount of sponsorship dollars that are coming into the channel, it's equivalent to what I made in some of my first years total, like in the entire year.
Right.
And having like this extra little side income propping me up, it also makes me feel secure because I'm not as reliant on the views because I've got these really cool partners like ViewSonic. ViewSonic has been absolutely amazing to work with. Actually, you're working with ViewSonic now.
Right.
And this isn't sponsored.
This episode of 1v1 Me brought to you.
Yeah, exactly. But they have been a very awesome thing to come to the channel. And I can only imagine if I continue to grow, those things will continue to happen.
Yeah.
And so I just want to make sure that I'm keeping things fresh. I'm keeping my personality in it, and people are kind of there for me. And hopefully it works out. But I have some other stuff like, I'm doing. I've done a bit of consulting work on the side, and I've helped with the Anthem Game Changer stuff. But I've also worked with Dauntless. I've worked with a local game here that I can't really talk about. But I've worked on a couple things. The makers of Realm Royale, they're working on a project that I'm most likely going to be helping with in
very cool
end of August. And so I've actually got some kind of game consulting that I've done as well. So down the road, maybe I make a game consulting firm. I have a marketing degree. Maybe I do something to do in the gaming industry there. If not, I've got a degree to fall back on. I've got some pretty cool experience with social media growth and all that. I'm sure I can find a company that will hire me in some sort of social media marketing role or specialization role. I hope. I hope. But content is the main goal for the next probably 2 to 3 years minimum.
Well, I'm excited to see, where your career takes you. I think you've done a fantastic job of really diversifying your skill set. And, like you said, I mean, you've done YouTube, sponsorships, Twitch, consulting, casting. I mean, you are certainly not one of those people who's really pigeonholed themselves into something specific. Like, you could have been, I'm all about trials, and that's what I do. My whole brand is centered around trials, and then it didn't happen, and then you're screwed, and then your channel's dead, and then you're doing what? It's so good to see that. I mean, you're savvy enough, you're smart enough to think beyond those things. So I'm really excited to see where your career takes you.
Is this flirt with True Vanguard?
So you can just DM me those pictures as soon as we finish.
Yeah, we'll do.
Well, thanks.
Yeah, who knows? Like, maybe I'll be like on TV one day because of my casting. Like, you never know where this will take you.
Yeah.
Like, and even yourself, like, you spend a lot of time on camera. You spend a lot of time talking with people. Like, that's a really unique skill, especially in the future with all the new, I guess, focus on esports and gaming and Twitch and YouTube and all these different things. Every company's using it, and the fact that we have these skills is pretty unique. Anyways, I kind of cut you off. I just got excited talking about it.
No, that's totally fine. I'm glad you bring your excitement. I just wanted to thank you very much for being on our debut episode of 1v1 Me, and I hope that people appreciated your insight and maybe even just getting a window into your life and your journey and your career and how your mind works. So I hope that people enjoyed that.
Thanks for having me. It was a really good time. I can't wait to see the final episode. Make sure you guys hit the bell for Ryan.
I don't know about that.
Hit the bell.
So if people wanted to find your content, they can find it where?
Mtashed everywhere. Mtashed. Twitch, Twitter, Instagram. I'm all over the place.
There you go. Perfect. Thanks again, brother.
Thanks again. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye. Well,
I do hope that you all enjoyed this very first episode of 1v1 Me. And hopefully you got to learn at least something new about Mike, Mtashed. And I'm really looking forward to hosting several new guests here as well. And please feel free in the comments section to make recommendations on every one of these episodes. Make recommendations of the people that you would love to hear more about and people that you would love to get some insight into their lives as well, so that we can continue this series and get some fresh blood on the show. So hopefully you enjoyed it, and I look forward to catching you in the next episode. Bye-bye.